day3. Day3.
Trial of Ghislaine Maxwell, the longtime associate of disgraced and deceased financier Jeffrey Epstein. On day 2 of her trial in New York, some very big names were mentioned in testimony, sending tremors throughout political and social circles in the United States. The 59-year-old British socialite denies charges of procuring underage women for Epstein and for herself. In testimony on Tuesday, Epstein's former pilot said that many of the most powerful politicians in the country, including Bill Clinton and Donald Trump, flew aboard Epstein's private plane. The pilot, Larry Visosky, said that he was given a notice in advance if Clinton or other high-profile passengers would be aboard. He also named Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, Maine Senator George Mitchell, Ohio Senator John Glenn, and the actor Kevin Spacey as passengers aboard the so-called Lolita Express. Clinton's spokesman previously admitted the former president had flown on Epstein's plane 4 times.
It's now Ghislaine Maxwell. She'll be back in court today, charged with being part of Jeffrey Epstein's sex-trafficking operation. Ariel Reshef is tracking the trial. Good morning, Ariel.
Good morning to you, George. No cameras were allowed inside the federal courthouse, where today could be pivotal as the prosecution continues to lay out their case against the socialite they claim was a willing accomplice to Jeffrey Epstein's sexual abuse of young girls. Prosecutors claiming that Maxwell recruited and groomed these young women, some as young as 14, to have sex with Epstein. Maxwell is charged with 6 counts, including sex trafficking. She has pleaded not guilty to all of them. Late yesterday, we heard from the first prosecution witness, Epstein's former pilot, who began painting a picture of the two as a couple. But of course, everyone is waiting to hear from Maxwell's accusers, and we could see the first of the 3 alleged minor victims testify as early as this week. Maxwell's defense team arguing that she has been a scapegoat since Epstein's death by suicide in his jail cell while he was awaiting trial. Maxwell's defense team also trying to paint a picture of his accusers as financially motivated. It's unclear whether Maxwell will take the stand in her own defense during this trial that's expected to last about 6 weeks. A jury of 5 men, 7 women will decide Maxwell's fate. George?
Ariel Reshef, thanks.
Well, hey there, GMA.
A few moments later.
Well, Matt, as you said, the testimony is ongoing of minor victim 1, known as Jane, who is currently being cross-examined by Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyers. They, of course, doing their very best to undermine the allegations that she has made against Ghislaine Maxwell. And that's because they were hugely significant. It was the first time yesterday that jurors got to hear in some pretty lurid detail the allegations of grooming and sexual abuse made not just by Jeffrey Epstein, but by Ghislaine Maxwell herself. That, of course, being the crux of this case. Allegations that she denies. But I should warn you, there are some details in my report that some viewers may find upsetting.
It all began here in 1994 at a summer camp for gifted young singers in Michigan. The victim, identified in court as Jane, testified that she was 14 years old when she was first approached by Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. They